Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode on SuperNegotiate. In this episode, I'm going to be speaking about 5 things that you need to take care of while designing your center of excellence for next 5 years. Now, before you start your procurement digitization journey, I always recommend this one. Start mapping out the use cases that you want to drive after your digitization is done. Think in advance. After you lay down a plan, look for the data points that are available today. Not after that you will implement a tool. No, before you implement a tool, look at what is available today. You might be collecting your purchase requisition information somewhere in Excel file. You might be having supplier quotations or even delivery performance. Map all the data points today and then figure out what other use cases that you want to drive are possible using those data sets. Two things will happen. You will be able to pick up a very tiny little bit of a use case and show the potential of what will be the business benefits if you scale this activity. Second, you'll get a really good insight in terms of what's the quality of the data and what all data points you need so that you can focus specifically on those data points to scale up your business use case library. Many times what happens is CPOs, category managers get lost in acquiring a new shiny tool in the procurement, the latest buzzword in the market, and then they realize the real data set that they need to drive a use case is not there because the data points are not really available. And then they have to restart the activity of collect all the necessary data points. So draw out what is available today. Figure out what can you do with those data points and then show the potential if we scale those use cases by investing in tool A, B, or C, what can you achieve? That's number one. So I recommend spending about 3.5 weeks to even 5 weeks drawing out this data availability roadmap that is there today and draw out your use case library. Second point, and I call it as a no-nonsense digitization. Often when you're acquiring new tools, you forget to look at what is available today. Okay. And I'm specifically talking about the business visualization tools. The new tools that you might be acquiring will have two components. The first component will always be about digitization. They might be having more reports, they might be having more data points, they might enable you to extract those reports and put it on a Power BI or any other visualization tool, further complicating the user experience, because as an end user, which is a category manager, the category manager will be loaded with like hundreds of dashboard. If you want to see this is the dashboard. If you want to see that, there is a dashboard. And when you go under the hood, why I call this as a no nonsense digitization approach, kill every dashboard that has a low utilization report or low adoption report. Okay, look into the usage metrics. Are people using those dashboards or not? And if they are not using it, kill the dashboard. Make your digitization suite sprinkly clean and with a high adoption rate. All right. And whenever you are going for a new tool in 2022, skip the visualization part. Skip everything that says, I will increase the end-to-end visualization for you. You will get spend visibility. You will get every report that you're looking for. No, we have been there, done that. I'm not looking for anything that is giving me static information. In fact, here's a thumb rule for you. If your total investment is crossing 100K per year, you have to go beyond just visualization. Ask for predictive insights, ask for alerts, ask for category specific recommendations and not just visual reports. And only then you will be able to see this no nonsense digitization approach. There's another factor in this approach is when you demand more predictive insights, you can clearly differentiate between the BI portion, which is like a commodity and very competitive rate availables are today for those BI tools. One is a true world-class system of predictive sourcing, which we can justify 100K or more price tag for a year. The third one, and I guess it is becoming a core and core approach for a procurement excellence team, is called setting up a negotiation excellence. You see, I talked about earlier in my post on LinkedIn, your suppliers are true masters of negotiation. They know their product inside and out. They know their competition inside and out. Some suppliers might be aware about the margins or even the product features. So they have an upper hand every time they're negotiating with category managers. And to make the problem worse, if a supplier is an incumbent supplier or is a strategic supplier, it's very likely that supplier knows the ins and outs of your organization. So how to maneuver a decision, they are probably in a better state. So as a new category manager, how can I negotiate with that supplier except banging the table, which doesn't work in these days. Shouting and banging the table are not the only tools by which you should be negotiating. In fact, they're more like a theoretical tools to negotiate now. So how do you beat a supplier at their own game? And the number one thing is information. And who collects the information? It's the Center of Excellence team. So ask or prep your Center of Excellence team to step into every strategic negotiation, to prepare your category managers with things such as who are the other suppliers, the market research, the macroeconomic environment, the demand and supply situation inside the organization, what can buyer commit, what can buyer cannot commit, and so on and so forth, many other things. These are the assistive services that your Center of Excellence should provide to every buyer. To tip the scale on the other side, they should also interact with a buyer before the buyer starts negotiating. And in case they feel the buyer is not ready to negotiate with that supplier, they should postpone the negotiation. And that's what it is required for every strategic negotiation going forward, starting tomorrow, not only in every organization, but also on the other side of innovation. Now that brings to my fourth point, what I call it as an Intrapreneur Hub. Many Center of Excellence setups today are becoming assistive or a shared service desk. To make the matters worse, I have seen Center of Excellence receiving tickets through some software or support desk and resolving those query ticket by ticket. That's such a waste of time. That's such a waste of potential of setting up any Center of Excellence. Now to turn it on its head, what I am asking you to set up a Intrapreneur Hub as part of your Center of Excellence. Now, what are intrapreneurs? Intrapreneurs are entrepreneurs, but inside the organization, they are given a free hand to rip apart a process or legacy process or a product. They are given a free hand in terms of how they can operate within the company. To empower themselves, they have some amount of budgets available that they can experiment with. The whole idea is they move at a faster pace than your current organization routine processes. Now I am encouraging you to set up your Intrapreneur Hub in part of your Center of Excellence team. What's the benefit? Well, according to the formula that Google uses, you don't have to use it like by like, but what Google had used for many, many years is every employee have to use 20% of their time to work on the project that are of personal interest for that particular employee, but that project can benefit Google as a company. So I might be doing stuff which is not in my KPI, but that 20% stuff can really help Google to get a benefit in the long term. Another way to look at this is that 20% side hustle, but within the organization, will not yield me anything business benefits in the short term, but can give me or can give Google a good benefit in the long term. You'll be very surprised to look at some of the examples. First, Gmail is a very good use case that came out as of this 20% innovation time off concept. Another one was AdSense. You know how much Google is generating revenue using AdSense now. Another company, 3M, used a similar approach and they came up with sticky notes as part of their program. Now the idea is not to copy Google or 3M like by like, but install this within your Center of Excellence team so that as part of the 20% time off, I can work with buyers, I can work with suppliers, I can work with startups to work on new ideas which my company may not see an immediate short-term value, but they can really benefit in the 3 to 5 year time. And I should be allowed to use flexible processes. I should be giving certain amount of budget to make sure that the enough resources are available for me to work on this innovation time of project. Set it up and you would not regret this. The last part is about redrafting your processes to work with startups. Now you would see that a lot of disruption is happening in every sector, not only in procurement, but in supply chain, in master data management, even outside of procurement as well. You would see that the way you interact with suppliers is different according to their maturity. You have your strategic suppliers, which are really stable in certain aspects, but are really slow in some other aspects as well, such as new product introduction. Whereas you have other classes of suppliers, which are startups, that might be risky overall company wise if you look at from the lens of financial stability or so on and so forth, but they might be really handy to you to work or co-develop some of the project. And it is the co-development portion which I'm asking you to look from a very strategic angle. Make sure you have enough space in your processes so that you can be flexible with startups to work for. And using the same approach, have a relook at all the processes that you're having in your company today. Make sure you are giving enough decision making power for the tactical activities, but also ensuring governance while maintaining the agility. Now that brings me end to this video. I know I have given you a very high level view on the 5 topics that I want you to focus on when you're designing data centric Center of Excellence for procurement. My name is Gaurav and I'll catch you in the next one.